My dear brothers and sisters, picture a world where the powerful demand your worship, where a glittering idol towers over the land, and where bowing to it means betraying your heart's deepest truth. What would you do when faced with a choice between life and faith, between safety and the call of God? Today, I invite you to journey with me to ancient Babylon, where three young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, stood before a blazing furnace, their hearts ablaze with courage, their faith unshaken. This is not merely a story of survival. It is a testament to the power of trust in God, the triumph of truth over fear, and the presence of the divine in our darkest trials. Let us walk together into this sacred moment, where faith defied the flames and revealed the glory of God. In the heart of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar, ruler of a vast empire, unveiled a monument to his own glory, a golden statue towering 90 feet high, gleaming under the sun. This was no mere work of art. It was a symbol of pride, a declaration of human power, built on the spoils of conquest and the suffering of countless lives. The king gathered his officials, governors, and people from every corner of his realm for a grand ceremony, a spectacle meant to unite all under his rule and his God. The statue stood as a challenge to heaven itself, an idol demanding worship, a monument to the illusion that human might could rival the divine. My friends, can we not see echoes of this pride in our own world? How often do we face idols of our own making wealth, power, fame, that demand our allegiance, that tempt us to turn from the one true God? Nebuchadnezzar's statue was not just a physical object. It was a test of the heart, a call to choose between the fleeting glory of this world and the eternal truth of God. In Babylon, the stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the foundations of an empire and reveal the power of unwavering faith. With the statue unveiled, Nebuchadnezzar issued a decree that resounded across the plain of Dura. When the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, and harp filled the air, every person, regardless of nation, language, or status, must fall down and worship the golden image. The penalty for refusal was clear and terrifying: to be cast into a blazing furnace, a death so horrific that none dared to imagine it. The music played, and the multitude bowed as one, their faces to the ground, their hearts gripped by fear or conformity. The king's command was absolute, his power unquestioned, his will enforced by the threat of fire. Yet, my dear ones, in this moment of universal submission, three figures stood tall: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, young Hebrews far from their homeland, refused to bend their knees. Their hearts belonged to the God of Israel, the creator of heaven and earth, and no earthly power could compel them to betray him. Their stand was not one of rebellion but of fidelity, a quiet yet unshakable declaration that they would worship no one but the Lord. Can we imagine their courage? To stand when all others bowed, to face the furnace rather than forsake their faith? This is the power of conviction, the strength that comes from knowing to whom we belong. The king's officials, ever watchful, noticed the defiance of these three men. With haste, they brought their accusation to Nebuchadnezzar, their words dripping with indignation. "O king, live forever. There are certain Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whom you have appointed over the affairs of Babylon, who pay no attention to your decree. They do not serve your gods, nor do they worship the golden statue." The king's face darkened with fury, for his pride had been challenged, his authority defied. He summoned the three men, demanding an explanation, offering them one final chance to bow and save their lives. Standing before the most powerful man on earth, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did not waver. With voices steady and hearts resolute, they spoke words that echo through the ages. "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But even if he does not, let it be known to you that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden statue you have set up." Oh, my brothers and sisters, what faith! They trusted in God's power to save, yet their loyalty did not depend on deliverance. Theirs was a faith that said, "God is enough whether we live or die." This is the heart of true devotion, to love God above all, to trust him even when the flames draw near. Enraged by their defiance, Nebuchadnezzar's fury burned hotter than the furnace he had prepared. He ordered the fire to be heated 7 times more than usual, its flames roaring with such intensity that even the soldiers who stoked it perished in its heat. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, bound hand and foot, were cast into the heart of the inferno. The king's command was swift, his judgment final, and to the eyes of the world, the fate of these 3 men was sealed. The furnace, a symbol of human wrath and power, stood ready to consume those who dared to stand against the king's decree. My dear friends, can you feel the weight of this moment? Imagine the searing heat, the crackle of the flames, the suffocating fear that could have gripped their hearts. Yet, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego faced the furnace with a peace that surpassed understanding. Their trust in God was not shaken by the ropes that bound them or the flames that surrounded them. They had placed their lives in the hands of the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who holds even the fire in his grasp. This moment challenges us to ask, what are the furnaces in our lives? What trials threaten to consume us? And do we, like these 3 men, trust that God is with us, even in the fiercest flames? As the king and his court watched, expecting to see nothing but ashes, a miracle unfolded that left them speechless. Within the furnace, where death should have reigned, life prevailed. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were not only alive but walking freely, unbound, untouched by the fire. And there, in the heart of the blaze, a 4th figure appeared, radiant and majestic, like a son of God, as Nebuchadnezzar himself described. The flames that were meant to destroy became a stage for divine revelation, a testimony to the presence of God in the midst of suffering. My brothers and sisters, this is the heart of our faith. God does not abandon us in our trials. He walks with us through the fire, his presence a shield, his love a refuge. The 4th figure in the furnace is a mystery that points us to the eternal truth of God's nearness. Whether an angel or a manifestation of the divine, this presence reminds us that we are never alone. The flames may rage, the world may turn against us, but God is there, sustaining us, protecting us, turning our trials into testimonies of his power. Let us hold fast to this truth. No fire is too fierce for the God who walks beside us, transforming our suffering into a revelation of his glory. Nebuchadnezzar, his pride humbled by the sight before him, leaped to his feet in astonishment. Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? He asked his counselors. Yet I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. The king, who had demanded worship for his golden statue, now witnessed a power far greater than his own. He called out to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, addressing them not as rebels but as servants of the Most High God. He commanded them to come out, and they emerged from the furnace without a trace of fire upon them. No smell of smoke, no singed hair, no mark of the flames that should have consumed them. This moment was a turning point, not only for the 3 men but for the king himself. The one who had exalted himself above all gods now stood face to face with the reality of the one true God. The furnace, meant to be an instrument of death, became a place of revelation, where human pride bowed before divine majesty. My dear ones, how often do we see God's power revealed in the most unexpected places? In our moments of trial, when all seems lost, God steps in, not to glorify himself alone, but to show us that his love is greater than any force we face. The miracle in the furnace was not just for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It was for Nebuchadnezzar, for the crowd, and for us, a sign that God's power knows no limits. As Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood before the king, untouched by the flames, Nebuchadnezzar's heart was stirred by awe and wonder. The man who had once demanded worship for his golden statue now stood in the presence of a power far greater than his own. With a voice trembling with reverence, he proclaimed, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him." They defied the king's command and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. In a stunning reversal, Nebuchadnezzar issued a new decree. No one in his empire was to speak against the God of the Hebrews, under penalty of death, for no other God can deliver in this way. My dear brothers and sisters, what a transformation we witness. The king, once blinded by pride, now saw the truth of the one true God. The furnace, meant to destroy, became the crucible where faith was proven and divine power revealed. This moment was not just a victory for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It was a triumph for all who trust in God. Their courage, their refusal to bow, their willingness to face death rather than compromise their faith, became a testimony that moved even a pagan king to acknowledge the Lord. Let us ask ourselves, how does our faith speak to the world around us? Do our lives, our choices, our trust in God shine as a light that draws others to Him? My beloved friends, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is not a tale locked in the pages of history. It is a living word for each of us today. In a world that often demands we bow to its idols, whether they be wealth, power, or the fleeting promises of this age, this story calls us to stand firm, to trust in the God who walks with us through the fire. The prophet Isaiah, centuries before, spoke God's promise, words that echo in this miracle. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. Isaiah 43 verses 2-3. These words are for you, for me, for every heart that faces trials. God does not promise that we will never see the furnace, but He promises to be with us in it. He walks beside us, His presence a shield, His love a fortress. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego remind us that faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to trust God, even when the flames roar. Their story invites us to say, with them, our God is able, but even if He does not, we will not bow. As we leave the plain of Dura, let us carry this truth in our hearts. No fire can overcome the God who loves us. No trial can separate us from His presence. No power can stand against His will. May we walk boldly in faith, trusting that the one who delivered these three men is the same God who delivers us today. May our lives become a testimony to His power, a light that shines in the darkness, and a song of praise to the God who walks with us through the fire. Amen.